Welcome into Actual Play Entertainment presents When the Wolf Comes, set in Ian Stuart Sharpe's Vikingverse. My name is Dave, and I am not a player because I'm alongside Mike and Kurt. Wait, I said I was not a player.
You said player.
Missed it.
We gotta scrap that
shit.
one. It was so good.
But that might just be a reflection on the fact, you've settled down, you're married, you're no longer a player.
All right, we'll roll with that. I'm not doing it again. We don't do it over again. Who cares? My name is Dave, and I am not the keeper. I am a player alongside Mike and Kurt because we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Ian Stuart Sharpe, to destroy us and mangle us, and we are very excited about it.
And the crowd goes wild.
Yes. Ian, you're here.
Hello. Thank you for having me. This is an honor, a pleasure, and hopefully it's going to be lots of fun throwing you to the wolves.
Oh,
I'm pretty excited about it. I'm looking forward to what you do to Lucian for his portrayal of someone from England or Britain. I'm excited about that part.
It has been noted over the past few episodes. I've kept a ledger, shall we call it? A ledger marked in blood. I've references to cucumbers and cucumber sandwiches and pianos have not gone unnoticed.
it's all with love, Ian. I am a well-known Anglophile. As I mentioned earlier, I have watched all of Monty Python's and Faulty Towers, and so I think that
nice
entitles me to dual citizenship. I think
You're officially an expert.
In your defense, I mean the people listening can't see the pasty white skin here. I'm showing you. It's genetic. There's some grounds for your disparaging portrayals.
I love it. But yeah, no, thanks for coming on and doing this with us. We're super stoked about this. This is going to be great.
Let's talk a little bit about the Vikingverse and the setting into which you find yourselves. So the Vikingverse is a parallel timeline where the Vikings rule the sea and the stars. So this is a pagan present. The story that we are about to tell together, the saga, is one that is inspired by Norse mythology. It is a telling of the present day as if the world never Christianized, as if the English didn't give way to the fall under the sway of the Danes. That the British Empire never came across to Canada and made it part of made the Dominion part of their empire upon which the sun never set. But instead, this is a Norse universe. This is the world where Thor and Odin reign supreme, where that Norse culture permeates everything, where it is honorable to lead a good life and to die a good death. So that is the world into which you are flung, and we will slowly unpick what that means and explain what that means and the ramifications and the repercussions of the Norse worldview as we play.
Awesome.
So, shall we dive straight in? I know you've got your characters all ready to go, but I will grab the hefty tome that is When the Wolf Comes. I feel like I'm sitting down to tell you all a bedtime story.
we're sitting cross-legged. You're in like the rocking chair in front of the fire.
Are you sitting comfortably?
Kurt makes his little sleepy time face. I have far too much Coca-Cola raging through my system to fall asleep at this point in time, but I appreciate
wonder if it'll
story.
be a story. Usually those stories have a happy ending, but I'm not so sure. We'll find out.
If you die a good death, then that's a happy ending. People will carve you a rune stone, Dave.
All right.
And your name will live for eternity.
And perhaps you'll go to Valhalla.
Oh, very nice. All right. I'm in.
Something to aspire to. All right. So our adventure begins in a land called Heimslit. Heimslit in Old Norse means the end of the world, the edge of the world, the northernmost inhabited remnant of empire, and the last best hope for Mother Yorth, the Earth or Midgard, to recover from the Fimbulvetter. The Fimbulvetter is a great winter that has befallen the whole planet in the aftermath of this catastrophic event called the Swordfall. The Swordfall is equivalent to a gamma ray burst that has annihilated the ozone layer and plunged the world into a new ice age. And so that is the setting where you find yourselves in this far-flung corner of the world, Heimslit, the edge of the world. Now, the reason why you're in this part of the world, we will explore in a little bit, but just to give you the name of the setting, you are in a town called Halpmakar. And that literally means in the local tongue, help each other, which is something of a suggestion as well as the name of the town, because in this Arctic tundra, unless you are willing to help each other, then who knows what might befall you. And the name of this first saga in what is an ongoing campaign called the Thought and Memory Saga is Nobody Dies in Halpmakar. That's the name of this adventure. Nobody dies in Halpmakar, although whether that's true or merely an aspirational statement remains to be seen. So let us start by setting the stage. Halpmakar is a small town, like I said, on the in the back end of Beyond. In the back of Beyond, I should say. It is a place that is full of bright aluminium cabins raised on stilts to avoid the melting permafrost below. There are plenty of steel pilings that are raising the modest dwellings off of the permafrost. Sometimes there are trapper cabins made of driftwood, shacks and hovels on the outskirts of town. But you all find yourself close by to the local sick house. The sick house being the name of the hospital in this Old Norse world. And for whatever reason, we'll dive into that now, you all find yourself ambling through the windswept streets of this town. It is a bright, sunny day because the sun remains in the sky for 24 hours. You are above the Arctic Circle. Right. The sun will not set over the course of our session today. It will remain bright and glowing in the sky above you. But you all, unable to shrink into the shadows and hide from the prying eyes, all three of you strangers find yourself ambling for one reason or another into the doorway of the sick house. And let's start with Gunnar. Let's start with Kurt and explain to us a little bit as to why you are in these northern climes.
Okay, well, I'll be playing Gunnar. Gunnar is a bit of a survivalist and a trapper. I'm literally here in this town because I've walked here. I've been kind of nomadically roaming around from village to village doing hunting and trapping. I don't share with a lot of people, but I'm kind of chasing a personal vision that I have to discover and trap the legendary firefox. Most people think that's just a myth, but I've had a vision of actually catching it and acquiring riches beyond my wildest dreams. And that's been motivating me for the last couple of years to just sort of nomadically hunt and trap my way around, just wandering the ice with my dog Fenrir.
So tell us a little bit about this mythical fire.
Okay. The firefox is a very cunning, smart, sort of careful animal, and the legend, foxes in general sort of have that mystique. The legend of the firefox itself is sort of known as this mythical beast that hides in the northern wilds. And when people see the aurora borealis, the legend is that that's actually the firefox's fur touching the snow as it runs. And when you see the aurora borealis, it's actually sort of a trail of the mythical firefox.
And if you could catch one of those, then indeed you would be rich beyond your wildest imaginings, because no one has ever been able to trap one.
Ooh.
Now, your dog Fenrir joins you in Halpmakar, and it's because it is a kind of rough industrial town. It's also alive with the sound of huskies, the excited yips of plenty of other dogs. So as you and Fenrir skip towards the hospital, the sick house, there's all kinds of snarls and beck and calling as the dogs all start yelping and shrieking at each other, barking. There is a tumult as you walk through the streets that draws everyone's attention.
And Fenrir looks exactly like these other husky type dogs, but he's quite well trained and doesn't typically respond to that sort of elevated dog behavior. He just sort of sticks by my side.
Now, talking of wolfish characters, Dave, who are you playing?
I am playing Bogul Banahog, who is now I'm going to butcher a lot of words in this game that I don't quite know how to say. I'm a Jarnvidjur.
That's good enough. Jarnvidjur, or you can just say Ironwoodite. You are a child of the Ironwood.
Oh, right on. Okay. But as Ian alluded to, I am a wolfman, more or less. Bred and raised in a laboratory as a hit-and-run killing machine. That is all I have basically known. Fighting in the war, losing in the war, which has caused a bit of a crisis of faith with him. He is he's a loner. He's uncomfortable around strangers. He's never really had a lot of experience out in, I suppose, civilization or society, whatever you would want to call it. So all this is kind of new to him, and he has traveled to this part of the world to do a personal favor for someone who helped him a lot. Someone named Fenya. She kept me hidden from Imperial search parties. It ended up costing her life. I'm not 100% sure why she risked her life to help me, but one of her final wishes was to have her ashes spread in this part of the world. So I have taken that very seriously, and that is what I'm here to do, as well as try to learn a little bit more about her.
You are obviously a loyal soldier and a good wolf boy, or perhaps you were just particularly cute and had those kind of melting eyes.
Well, either way, she risked a lot for me. Ultimately, her life, which I have a lot of, I suppose, I would have a lot of respect for, and also perhaps a little bit of confusion why. Being bred in the laboratory and being a big wolf person, a lot of people see me as a monster, which he doesn't really like. He doesn't deserve to be treated. Not necessarily, I don't know if deserved is the right way, but he feels that he isn't a monster and that someone showed him this compassion and risked a lot for him. I suppose it means a lot to him, and he wants to learn a little bit more about her.
So When the Wolf Comes, the Jarnvidjur, the Ironwoodites, are uplifted animals who were given sentience in order to fight in part of the Jotun War, which is just a huge world-spanning war that has raged behind the scenes, ended several years ago with that cataclysmic sword fall that I talked about. But you are a remnant child soldier from there, and perhaps some of your just genuineness and honesty and that that innocence that you have comes from the fact that you were, unwittingly bred for war and didn't want to be a soldier necessarily.
Right. No, exactly. Appearance-wise, he's pretty tall, taller than a normal man. Fur that is almost as black as night. He's got piercing yellow eyes. Wears kind of like a cloak and tries to keep his face a little bit hidden. And he leans on a staff, like hunched over, and walks fairly slowly. And that's about it.
Do you have? I'm not sure if I'm picturing it right. Do you have like a full wolf face?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's the full Lon Chaney Jr. He's got that whole wolfman thing going on. He's effectively a man wolf.
Yeah.
He's not a werewolf in that he can't change into a man. He's he once was, or at least in embryonic form, he was a wolf. He was given sentience and grown to be an imitation of a man.
Okay.
And leaning on your staff, are you older and grizzled, or because Ian mentioned you're like a wolf pup?
I'm a little older and grizzled.
Okay.
Pup at one point, and then definitely bred to just kill, and that's all I was used for. And then as the war stopped, kind of escaped. Yeah, but no, I'm a little older, a little more grizzled.
Cool.
He's grey around the jowls.
Yeah.
Long in the fang.
Yeah.
Now, okay, we last but not least, we go to Mike. Tell us a little bit about Natasha the Blackbird.
You see a small, slender figure moving through the snow, moving steadily. You can't tell whether the figure is female or male, heavily bundled up, really intentionally trying to mask her appearance from people. She is a child of the Kitai, and they are not appreciated in this part of the world. She's had to pay a high price to find a home for herself and be accepted here in Halp Makar. And her backstory is that she lived in Kitai, and that when the sword fall fell, she found herself orphaned and alone, and had to survive on the fringes of what society was left, and got involved in crime and did what she had to do to survive. And she is on the run from something that I won't talk about right now. I'll probably bring it up over the course of the story. But she's run to the furthest place on Earth she could find, and that is this part of the world, the edge of the world. But as I say,
so that's for the purposes of listeners at home, let's just talk a little bit about Kitai or Kaitai. It can be pronounced in various different ways. It's an old name for Cathay or for China. It's a part of in this game we use the Old Norse exonyms. So, for example, Canada doesn't exist; it would be Vinland or Markland, and India would be Sindland. The land of the French would be Frackland, and it's full of frackers. You would be glad to know. And similarly, the lands that we now call China would be called Kaitai, and unfortunately, a lot of Asia was affected very badly by the sword fall when that gamma ray burst hit that hemisphere, and vast swaths of the population boiled away to their constituent atoms and kind of gloop. And so a lot of that part of the world is an irradiated ozone fueled nightmare land. And so that's one of the reasons why you particular have become a refugee and found yourself in this frozen north.
That's right. She's just walking along. She has a small pack, and she keeps herself to herself. And there's a small slit between her hood and her toque and her muffled wool scarf that covers her face, where you just see two bright almond-shaped eyes scanning everything in front of her quickly.
Wonderful.
On the run from something. Sounds like there might be a bounty to split. Kurt, what do you think?
Easy money.
The money ain't easy, man.
Oh, let's derail everything right at the beginning.
Good. Well, as I said,
PvP.
sure. Let's break out those dice. As I mentioned, you are lurking in the vicinity of the sick house. A reindeer is moping along the street nearby you, past all of the kind of the flotsam and jetsam of abandoned mining equipment. A lot of the area here, people work in the mines. There's not much more to do, but because you're in this Arctic wilderness, it's full of rich natural resources that clearly there's a reason for people to be here to mine and get the benefit of. So that's a lot of the nature of the town. It's primary industry, and it's very gritty and real. Like I said, there's huskies running around the streets chasing the moping reindeer that wander in and out of the abandoned mining gear. And as you all, as individuals, seem to be caught on the street, you see a Dverg. A Dverg in this universe is effectively a robot made of ironwood. It's born of the bones of the soil and the blood of oil. And this particular specimen has robust wheels with tire treads that enable it to roll efficiently across the tundra. It glows with medical instruments and diagnostics, and it has one almost funnel-like eye that rotates between all three of you as if scanning you, and then it simply says, "Heil Oxile, meatbags, do come in. Come in, be happy and be healthy. My name is Valdoki.
Call us meatbags?
Do not just stand there, meatbags. I am in need of your assistance."
Gunner's always happy to help someone that asks for help, so he makes his way inside without saying anything.
Natasha looks around suspiciously, sees Gunner follow him in, and then slowly follows as well out of curiosity.
Yeah, I'll wait for him to go in. And before I go in, I wanted to go and look at the Dverger and just say, "Fenya? Do you know Fenya?"
Negative. I have no idea of any meatbags by that name.
Fucking meatbags. Okay, now I will just kind of grumble and walk in, leaning on my cane as I come in the door.
Cane or a staff?
Staff, sorry. I said cane. It's a staff. It's a big wooden staff.
Like, how old is this guy? Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Does it have the tennis balls in the bottom of the cane? Is it?
No, it's just a nicely carved staff. Looks pretty nice.
If I may inquire as to your health, are you all of sound mind?
Yes.
It's debatable.
Yeah, I'll just nod.
It takes a kind of probing finger that kind of elongates and gives Natasha a little poke in the ribs.
No, she won't let him do that. She backs away quickly.
Interesting reflex action.
What do you want of us?
I have need of people to go out into the tundra and retrieve a meat bag by the name of Bjarnard Bjarnason. Bjarnard Bjarnason has left the sick house without permission. It is 98% certain, according to my diagnostic records, that the meat bag will expire imminently. Accordingly, according to the death law, the man must be escorted to the Atastupi, there to fling himself to his death and avoid creating a distraction for the Isbjorn. Perhaps you would like me to explain myself in greater detail, meatbags. You look perplexed.
I think we've got it. If we let this guy run out on the tundra and die, the ice bears are going to get him, and that's going to attract the ice bears to town.
That is most astute.
Oh, yeah.
I have a lot of experience with ice bears. What are you willing to pay, you bucket of bolts?
I will have you know that I am made of the finest carbon nanofibers. There are not one single bolt to be had on this fine carapace.
Well, this top-notch beef is not carried in a bag.
In terms of payment, I will happily provide you with 1 crown for your services each, and in addition, I will deliver unto you, meatbags, a hunting rifle and 6 rounds in order to ensure your safe return. We do not want anyone being unwittingly eaten by Isbjorn.
And we keep the rifle.
Negative. You return the rifle and any unused rounds. I do not run a charity, I run a sick house.
We'll return 2 rifles and keep all the extra ammunition.
I'm afraid this does not compute. I am only giving you 1 rifle to begin with.
Oh, I thought it was 1 rifle each. My mistake.
Well,
yeah, I'm intrigued by this. Bogle is very curious of all this. This is very, very intriguing to him. He will nod, and so we get 1 rifle between us. I would like it. If he goes to give us a rifle or hand it, I will snatch it with quick speed.
Gunner's probably not going to fight you for it. He just spent all of the money that he had to replace his survival gear that he lost, and has absolutely no cash right now, so he's pretty interested in taking this job.
Natasha, this is like the last thing she wants to do, but she is down to her last 4 pennies, and she thinks to herself that the Wolfman looks capable and the human looks trustworthy enough, so she's just going to go along with it, but she's not saying anything.
I'm not sure if I actually described Gunner's physical appearance. So he's relatively tall. He's got long, sort of blondish red hair and kind of a mane-like beard. It sort of all comes together in a bit of a lion's mane. He's very weather-worn. He's kind of like tall, lean, strong-looking. And the left side of his face has 3 large scars that kind of pull down his face. And the one eye, where it's been clawed through the middle, it's kind of changed the color of that eye. And he has a bit of an off-putting kind of stare. Like, you know, when someone has a lazy eye, you're not sure which eye is looking at you? It's kind of like that. And he's, ever since that eye got scratched out, it didn't really affect his vision. Sometimes he sees more, sometimes he sees less, but that's when the vision started.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Natasha
awesome.
takes a second look at Gunner and thinks to herself, no. It's both
now,
untrue.
luckily for you, Valtoki, the medical dverg, has no such qualms. he can barely distinguish gender, origin, race, as far as you're concerned. As you're all meat bags, you're all meat kettles, you're all warm bodies. You just happen to be 3 people standing outside when he rolled out in search of this man, Bjarni Bjarnason. But Valtoki also then says to you, "It is quite apparent to me that Bjarni Bjarnason is too poor to pay for a funeral pyre, but you may well cheer him up and entice him to obey the death law by purchasing something from my range of Happy Death Day merchandise. I have balloons, I have streamers, and I have cards that you may sign yourself. All of you meatbags are presumably related in one way or another, and I am told that this will be a good gesture to see him on his way into the halls of Valhalla."
May I invoke my Udal right here and ask a question about this
You
scenario?
may, and for the benefit of people following at home, you have a gift of nature which enables you to ask the GM one question about a new encounter or scenario or creature, and you get to do that once. So be wise in your use.
Okay. This may not be the wisest of questions, but Gunner's unfamiliar with this new town. And my question is, does it seem normal for a diverger to be not only running this stick house, but also trying to wrangle people who have run away to enforce the death penalty? Does that seem odd to me in any way or make me untrusting of this job?
So I have to answer it in a yes/no question.
Oh, it's a yes
so
or no.
I was if your question is, does it make you seem untrusting? No, it doesn't. In the sense that this is a genuine servitor of the people. He runs the sick house. He just doesn't have much in the way of bedside manner. And again, just by way of setting the scene, one of the things he's talked about here, the death law, is something that you're broadly familiar with. People just aren't allowed to die in the town of Halpnakar, because if they do, then they bring the Isbjorn, the polar bears, into town, and that causes chaos. So rather than die in town, you can't also be buried because of the permafrost, right? If someone buries you, the permafrost churns you up, and eventually you become polar bear chum. So they much prefer, and have actually passed a law here to say, off to the Atastupi, the troll tongue, this great big cliff that's a day or so's hike away, and throw yourself into the sea where you won't cause anyone any problems.
I love it.
Okay, excellent. All right, you know what, Hot Wheels? I'm in. I'll do your job. And if these two aren't in, I'll take their pay.
Hot Wheels?
Yeah, that's you.
I'm very flattered by the fact that you have noticed the tires on which I spent so much extra finessing.
This one's got a personality, huh?
I'll look up at him and just say, balloon. And then pull out, I have a little handful of pennies. And I'll just kind of put my hand out to him.
Might I say, what an inspired choice that is, Meatbag. I shall designate you Hairy Meatbag in order to distinguish you from the other two nondescript meatbags. Hairy Meatbag, please take anything from the range of merchandise. If you wish, I will simply deduct it from your fee.
I'll nod. I'm happy with that. Is there a red balloon?
No, they're all black. It's Happy Death Day.
That's fair. I will take 2 balloons.
2 balloons.
Yeah, I'm going to keep one and give one to the guy that's going to die.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have that. I want to turn to Gunner too and kind of take my finger and touch his scar and say, "Is Beyond?"
That's right. I got too close.
And I'll just sit down. Do I have the rifle now?
If you clambered to the rifle before anyone else, then by all means. But Natasha was busy fending off the unwanted advances of robot fingers.
Okay, that's fair. I'm going to, with skill and speed, kind of like, and open it, make sure it's all good. I can definitely know my way around a rifle. Nod, load it up.
It's kind of antiquated, one bullet in the chamber, bolt action type thing. It's not like you're gonna be, spraying bullets. You've got to take a round to reload. But fine. It's one of the things that you will know just from being in this part of the world is that whilst you're not allowed to really take loaded firearms into buildings, everyone strongly encourages you to take some kind of rifle or firearm should you leave town because, let's just say polar bears don't play nice.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Yeah, no, he's very happy with this gun. Checking it out. And his balloon.
Natasha, did you want to sign a card? Buy a wreath?
Yeah, Natasha is still mostly mute during this whole time. She's really trying to figure out Gunner and Bogle and decide whether or not this is safe for her to do. She needs the crown. She's pretty desperate. So she's going to go over to Gunner, catch his eye, nod at him, and then wait for them to leave.
Wait for whom to leave?
Wait for us all to depart. It's Gunner's show, and Natasha's along for the ride.
Yeah, Gunner is now the face of the party.
That was easy.
Well, Valtoki begins to roll backwards and forwards in a slightly irritable manner, and you can see the various diagnostic displays, almost fade and shut down. And the Dverg says to you, "This conversation can serve no further purpose. Please do be about your business and escort Bjarne Bjarnason to the Atterstup. Do not return until such time as this is accomplished, or you will be most unwelcome."
Where is
Say no more Hot Wheels
to escort?
If I were aware of the location of the meat bag, then I might have retrieved him myself. I am paying you reasonable money in order to do something. I suggest you get off your hairy behind.
This guy's a charmer.
Before you kick us out here, Hot Wheels, do you have any personal effects? Any clothing that they might have been wearing before they left? Bed sheets?
I do not know if meatbags who wear bed sheets.
Yeah, is he trying to get me to sniff like a tracking dog? Bogle's not
happy.
He's
got his own dog. He doesn't need you.
Oh, yeah, he's got his own dog.
My own dog, Fender.
I'll take it back.
Just stuff some sheets in your face. Smell this.
The meatbag checked himself out without my authorization. He has all of his clothing and effects. He considers himself to be quite well. He is, however, maladjusted and entirely wrong. I am the town diagnostician. I am the one who has correctly ascertained that he has a 98% certainty of expiring within the next 3 days. Internal hemorrhaging, if you wish to know the details.
Dverg, this man is wondering simply where Bjorn's bed was. Can you diagnostic that?
He gestures towards the room behind him in which there are 3 empty beds and says, "Please, take your pick. This is not a large town, nor are my facilities particularly well equipped. But if you wish to explore any of these 3 empty beds, you by all means do so. But please do so on your own time and not when I'm paying you. You will recall that Dverg in this universe are, fairly miserable, partly down to their their truncated lifestyle, partly to the fact that they are often born into thraldom, into servitude, and they are often painted black, and they have a somewhat dour and depressing demeanor. Even these ones who were meant to have some kind of bedside manner. Now that does remind me, because Burgle and Natasha, you are both freedmen. You come from the background of having once been slaves yourself, having had the yoke of slavery, the slave collar forced around you, and that means that when you start any adventure, you must make a might challenge roll, or you might lose an item. So this is a straight challenge roll. So against your might. So Bogle, you're at least a little bit
might's
stronger than most.
Yeah, might's pretty good.
So give me a roll.
14 plus 1, 15.
Then you will find you have lost nothing. You have kept your gear together. Natasha, looking bleak.
Come on with your -1 might. Natural 20.
Very good. All right.
That's
Dice
the
cam.
way to start a campaign.
That's a nice first roll.
Yeah, dice cam. That is simply to represent the fact that when you are a huddled and starving, part of the huddled and starving masses, that you might, have things stolen from you. You might mislay stuff. Your life isn't easy for you, and you do everything you can to keep it together. With the new crown, the shiny new crown that you might make escorting Bjarnard, you could buy yourself a new lifestyle with a new adventure, and who knows, have a hovel to live in overnight.
Yeah, because right now I imagine Natasha's sleeping in like communal, just mats on the floor, kind of.
I figured the reason why you were close to the sick house is a kind of communal space, and you might have been able to, hope for a bed there. Certainly, you were in that vicinity, or perhaps you were just, following the reindeer and hoping that it would lead you somewhere nice.
The fates have brought,
like a Christmas movie. All right, so you have your maps of Caprica. You know what the place is like. It is a smallish settlement. There is a big estate of the local Jarl, a guy called Finnbogi Asbjørnsen. He's up on one of the slopes. There is a statue of the Empress Trumba in the town square. There is Gunnar Weatherbag's travel emporium, where you could buy extra equipment if you need to. And there's a range of other facilities, restaurants, the Cooking Kettle, which is the local tavern, and the place that often the miners frequent. There's the Law Speaker's House. This is a kind of thriving industrial town, and because it is high summer, the sun is in the sky, it's warmer, the snow is melted in places, but as you look around on the horizon, it's glaciers as far as the eye can see. Beyond that, another glacier.
Should we go to the inn and see if anyone knows anything about him, where he's from, where he'd be going, what he did?
The Cooking Kettle is the gathering spot for locals for decades, long before the Swordfall. It's where the few miners who still serve their meals there between long shifts head. A mess hall, and unusually for a mess hall, there is a dairy in the basement. All the local cows are milked from that vantage point, rather than left to roam the tundra and get eaten by polar bears.
Yeah, freeze to death. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's worth talking a little bit about the Isbjorn as well. Gunnar, you're well acquainted with these things. Can you tell us a little bit about the noble beasts, the Isbjorn, and exactly why they have this spiritual resonance?
So the bears have been around forever and sort of cohabitated with humanity. They tend to keep to themselves. They're a little bigger than you would imagine a typical polar bear to be. There's obviously a deep spiritual connection to the bears. Ian, can you help me out a little bit?
So for the people of Hapnikar, the Isbjorn, the ice bears, are the kings and queens of beasts. They are the rulers of the wild. And many locals even refuse to call them bears for fear of offending them. They call them instead Odin's dogs, or the old men in fur coats, the ever-wandering ones. They refer to them euphemistically because they're seen not as bears, but as wise, powerful brothers, mediators between menfolk and the spirit world, the guardians of the worlds of the dead. So they really are an essential part of the landscape, but also the spiritual beliefs. There is actually a temple of the bear in town, slightly apart from the town proper, accessed by a long gravel track, an expansive wooden building that boasts statues of Odin, Thor, and the local god Jomali. And that is an important part of the worship of the people of Hapnikar.
Sometimes the bears can even, if they're well known enough, they can even be given their own names, right? The single individual bears can sometimes be revered in that way and given their own names. Yeah.
Indeed. And some of them, on occasion, are snapped up and offered to rich people for house pets. Not sure if that's entirely legitimate or might be slightly blasphemous, considering that they're almost sacred. But who knows who'd do such a thing?
And part of Gunnar's backstory has actually been to protect these bears. He sort of spends his life acting as a steward for the bears and fighting against that poaching. He finds taking the bears from their natural habitat so that rich people can enjoy them in their homes to be an atrocity. And he goes out and dismantles traps anywhere that he can find them and misdirects poachers and does whatever he can to protect the bear.
Most honorable. So, would you like to knock on the door of the cooking kettle, visit the Temple of the Bear, perhaps pop into Gunnar's gun store to top up your ammunition? It's entirely up to you, or simply look around town for one of the cabins with Bjarnard Bjarnason in it.
There was one other question I was wondering about. There's a law speaker office in town.
There is.
Is that like a center of government? Like, could we go and find Bjarnard Bjarnason's
records on
address there or something? Yeah, some records.
Indeed, you could. So the law speaker is a man known as Crapty Thorthwood. Crapty for shorts, if you need to remember anything. And his assembly hall sits just opposite the temple. The law thing is where the tribunal of lay judges, the jury of your peers would assemble if there was any kind of court case. It's what passes for, it's the local magistrate. There is a governor of the place who runs the town, but Crapty, as the law speaker, would officiate over any disputes.
I'll leave it up to you guys. The Bogle will follow where you guys feel you need to go. He doesn't know a lot about where he thinks he would go. It's kind of new to all this stuff, so he'll give off to you guys.
He's kind of new to humanity in general, in menfolk in general.
100%. He's just happy he has a gun and a balloon.
Natasha keeps her distance from him and looks at Gunnar and says, "Where do you want to start?"
I think you're onto something with the official records. I think we should go down to the law thing and find whatever information we can and start there.
All right, let's do it.
Fine.
Okay, so the law speaker's office again is nothing too fancy or highfalutin. This is a building with aluminium siding, quite Spartan and sparse, and you can knock on the door should you wish to.
Let's walk right in.
I walk up and knock on the door.
Yeah, I don't know.
You just walk right in before I can knock on the door? All right. All right.
Sorry, hello? Who's there?
Yeah, I'm just a little startled by that. Bjarnardson.
No, the name's Crapty. My gosh, where are you from?
Frenya.
No, I don't think that's right. You can't be from Freya. Having a little bit of a trouble with the words. You two. Is this you a child of the Ironwood, rare around these parts? Something to do with you? It's a fascinating specimen.
This is my friend Bogle. I'm Gunnar. We were looking for Bjarnardson,
pleased to
as my
meet
friend mentioned.
You. What brings you to
Very
town?
pleased to meet you.
Frenya.
Yes, he's a very nice fellow, this. Chatty, just perhaps the wrong type of chatty. Let's try and get to the bottom of what he wants. Fenya. That a person?
He'll nod.
Fenya. Well, there's 2,562 souls in town by my last census, and I can't say that a Fenya is one of them. I know them all, man and boy, woman and child, but
a woman.
Fenya. Yes. Not someone that I recall, I'm afraid. Let me ask around. Let me have a think on it. Maybe it's a relative of someone. How many years back?
He'll just look wide-eyed.
Who is Fenya?
You say that too.
Gunnar asks. He's lost. Who's Fenya?
It's a friend. Dead friend.
The part of Bogle's backstory is coming to... That's the reason he's come here, is to honor the memory of his dearly departed friend who gave her life for his in the war.
Right.
Yeah, so he's not looking for her because she's dead. He's looking for people that know
just
anything about her.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's not very articulate or no. Excuse me, I had a friend's name, Fenya.
The challenge with being, birthed in a chest tube, off-world, given sentience, is, you don't necessarily know the whys and the wherefores of human society or where poor Fenya might be. He only knows that she lived in Heimslip, which, as I said, is the edge of the world, this island archipelago on the edge of nothing.
And Hjaltmakar is the main city on
the main town.
Heimslip,
exactly.
But it's not the only one.
It's not the only one. That's right. There's a few whaling villages and research institutes. In actual fact, one of the things that Gunnar might be interested in is the Firefox Institute, where the Winter Wise, who are the scientists who are trying to avert the catastrophe of the Great Winter, are taking readings and measurements and generally exploring the Arctic in the hope of reversing the global climate change.
I am definitely interested in the Firefox Institute, and in the back of my mind, I want to go there and talk to them, but I'm also a little intimidated because they seem to be doing real science, and I'm actually trying to, instead of study the Firefox or the Aurora Borealis, I'm trying to actually catch a real Firefox, and privately, that embarrasses me.
Understandable. So Crapty is looking a little bit nonplussed about the fact you've barged in and interrupted his lunch without a buy nor leave, and now have a slightly damp, shaggy wolf man molting on his carpet.
Natasha's still standing outside, and she's upset with how this has gone.
And you, young lady, difficult to tell. Where might you be from? Not from around here either, by your garb.
A long ways away. We are looking for someone, not this Frenya, another.
Oh, well, do make up your mind. Who are you looking for now?
Fenya.
He taps himself on the forehead in mild irritation and disgust. He says,
"My eggs are getting cold. Please do make up your mind. How can I help? Otherwise, might I direct you to the inn where the local barmaid, the matron of the cooking kettle, Solveig, will be more than happy to entertain your rather errant requests."
Natasha kind of gives Gunnar a shove. Like, talk, idiot.
We're sorry to be wasting your time here, my friend, but we're looking for Bjarnard.
Bjarni, yes, of course. I can tell you where that oaf is. Head down the street, one of the trapper cabins on the second on the right, I think. It will be the only one that's has a pot stove boiling. Everyone else will be out working, but that man has had a chesty cough for as long as I can imagine. I don't think it's going to see him outside the week.
Have you seen him recently? I heard a rumor that he's wandered out onto the ice.
I haven't seen him, but I've heard him. Irritating man. Full of opinions, full of piss and blather and wind.
Well, thank you so much. We'll let you get back to your lunch, and we'll go check on that trapper.
I don't take this the wrong way, because it's been lovely making new acquaintances. We don't see that many in this part of the world, but we don't want to run into each other again, because after all, I am the law speaker, and that would just mean that you've got yourself into a spot of bother.
I look at my new friends and I say, was that a threat?
I'll shrug. No idea.
Natasha tries to somehow fade into the background and avert her face.
Gunnar stares coldly into that man's face and tries to read his intention with what he says, and just looks at him for a while and then says, "Thank you for your help," and leaves.
He says, "Well, be happy and healthy, and best of luck on your travels."
He seems perfectly friendly and genuine.
Natasha gives a slight nod respectfully and then turns and follows Gunnar.
Yep, just follow Gunnar.
It speaks something as to how Makar's size, in that the local law speaker, eating his lunch, opens his own door. He doesn't have a staff. He doesn't have a clerk or anything. He's just an ordinary young-ish, well-to-do man who was just slightly annoyed that you interrupted his lunch.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, he handled that really well.
Right.
Is that unusual? Because there can't be that many Ironwoodites. He expressed surprise at seeing one, but he was more interested than concerned. I mean, wasn't there just a war between these people and the Ironwood?
There was. Crapteeth Thorthridson has the distinction of being a well-educated man and a well-traveled man who has perhaps been, from his demeanor, perhaps he's been off-world. Perhaps he was a conscientious objector. There's all kinds of reasons why people wouldn't be entirely surprised by a wolf man knocking at their door. That said, perhaps you did pick the most enlightened and discerning mind to knock on door first.
As we're walking away, Natasha is going to lean over to Gunnar and say, "He can't do that again."
I'll lean right in and listen.
She's bothered by that and moves away again.
Are you referring to him? And I kind of like casually nod at Boggle at a moment when he's not looking at us.
He's just listening.
I look at you like you're an idiot. Yes, him.
Huh? I'm not his boss.
Tell me what.
We must be successful at this. A crown is a lot of money. Maybe not for you with your traps and your dog. But for me, it's survival.
Crown is a lot more money than I have right now.
Well, then let's act like it.
Okay, well, let's stop standing around and talking about it, and let's find this guy. I've actually been to the Trapper Cabins earlier this week. Checked them out when I first got into town. They're just directly to the south.
Good. Go.
Follow me.
It is a short walk to the edge of town, where the Trapper Cabins are all assembled. Now, there's not much wood in this northerly climb, but such as appears as driftwood, precious driftwood that it washed up ashore, is bundled together to make these makeshift cabins that are at least sufficient to protect against the more inquisitive bears. Now, as you approach the one that you think that Crapty pointed you towards, you can hear this wrenching cough that echoes out, that probably does mark it as the right one, the house of Bjarni Bjarnason. The cabin has a small single window with makeshift bars and shutters that you can peer through, but otherwise has got these massive logs, driftwood logs, propping it up. You can peer through the window if you wish.
Natasha will if she can.
I think we should surround the cabin first. And then peer in case he runs out the back door.
Too small for a back door, but I appreciate the sentiment. He might try and clamber through a window. Inside, you see not an elderly, but an aging man. You'll be glad to know, like every decently appointed trapper cabin, he's sitting next to a pot-bellied stove, which serves as his heater, cooker, and dryer, and he's eating from a tin of beans.
Huh. Oh, lovely.
A familiar repast.
So I'm standing at the front door. I'm just gonna open the door.
Love it. I'm right behind you.
Natasha rolls her eyes so dramatically that you can hear it. Yep.
She was behind us, so neither of us noticed.
You can hear it. You hear something scraping.
So you're opening the door without so much as a knock?
Correct.
You hear a kind of sharp retort as the door opens, and a voice says, "Pardon me and fuck yourself, you sniveling snotrat! Get out!"
Oh, wow. Taking back that.
Bjarni Bjarnason, am I correct?
Who's asking?
I'm Gunnar, a fellow trapper.
Fellow
We need to
trapper.
talk.
I've not seen ye before.
I'm new in town.
Let
Me and my
me
friends are gonna
look
come
at
in
your
and sit by your
hands.
warm fire, and
Your hands,
hands?
man!
I peel my thick leather gloves off and show
I don't
my
want a
well-worn hands and
proctostomy.
swollen knuckles. You what? Sorry?
A prostate exam. I'm not having it up to here. The gloves are fine, man.
You just want to see my gloves? I show him my gloves.
Aye, good sealskin gloves. What brings you to
Nothing
Bjarni's
but the
cabin?
best.
I'll hand him a black balloon.
Oh, nice.
What is this? Happy Death Day!
I'll just nod.
You black-eyed son of a shit-fested whore! Get out of my cabin!
I have yellow eyes for the record. What's the name of the cliff?
I don't think he's gazing into them.
What did they say was the name of the cliff that he had to jump off of? Oh, man.
The Troll's Tongue or the Atastupi. Troll's Tongue is the simplest way. He says it. a huge, great, big piece of rock that juts out into the ocean, into the Dumhof. The Dumhof is the local sea.
Should we? I'll just look over at Gunnar and look back. You're going to the cliff.
I'm going nowhere with you, you mange-bitten cur. I didn't spend 5 years in the trenches shooting at your flea-bitten kind to go traipsing off into the tundra with my tail between my legs.
But Bjarnard, you know what happens. If you die, you just become bear chum. You can't do that to the people. You can't draw the bears into town. You know the rules. You know the law. We just talked to the doctor. He says you have a 2% chance to live out the week.
That shitheel doesn't know his ass from his elbow. I'm not having a Diverg stick his fingers up my bottom and tell me that I've got lung cancer.
Can I make an awareness
Doesn't even
check?
make sense. How do you probe someone's anus and tell them they've got lung cancer?
Can I make an awareness check and how does this guy look health-wise?
He looks peaky.
He looks
peaky. He looks peaky, that which is English for
sickly.
Sickly.
In Vogel's mind, the whole flea-bitten mongrel thing, that 2% is now 0. And he knows he got in trouble for just barging in before from Natasha. He's not doing anything, but he wants to kill this guy right here on the spot. He looks at Gunnar.
Gunnar gives him no non-verbal permission to kill this guy.
To the cliff. I'll just stare at him and say it again.
Gunnar, I'm gonna ask for your best smile and a will challenge. We're actually gonna make it a will attack roll against his wits. Tell me what you get.
I rolled a 13 on the dice and I get +1 to my wits, so 14.
Then the man Bjarni looks slightly crestfallen and he hangs his head and he says,
Tell this milk-dribbling fucksmear I'm good to go.
Grab your shit. Let's go.
I'll point to my chest. Fuck smear. What's a
good man, Bjarnard? Do the right thing.
I don't need anything. My worldly possessions are all. Here, this is my coat. It's kept me warm all of these years. And now, it will keep me on my last journey. Although, keep that one downwind of me. I don't want to smell his rank arse.
This guy really might not make the cliff.
Well, he'll make it. I'm going to boot his fucking ass off it when he gets there.
So he just leaves his cabin. He's the only one in his cabin, and he just leaves the cabin and decides to come with us based on Gunnar confronting him essentially about how, hey, you know how it works in Yaltmakar.
It is the law.
The rules.
Yeah.
It is the law. This is a law-abiding society. He tried to duck it. He obviously didn't get far. And frankly, a big wolf man turns up at your door looking menacing. Yeah, the jig is up.
What's he doing with the balloon?
The balloon, he takes.
No,
and he pops right in your face.
Oh.
Do you know
Man.
Fenya?
See, it's not. He's just kind of apoplectic with rage because obviously a Diverg's idea of a kind of celebration is not what most menfolk would ascribe to. So he doesn't even hear you because he's hopping mad.
Fenya. Do you know Fenya?
Fenya. I'm not listening to another word out of your wolfish lips. Come, if we're gonna do this, let's get it over with. I can't believe that I've got to spend the last 48 hours on Midgard, traipsing after you three.
Whoa. It takes 2 full days to get there?
Depends what pace we head out. We'll have to camp overnight. I hope you've got tripwires and flares to fend off the bears. You have come prepared.
I've got a flare.
What kind of ice bear guards are you that have come?
And he starts tugging at his heavy mustache.
Enough talk, Bjarnard. We're burning daylight here, and I elbow him jokingly. Let's get out of here.
Natasha's legitimately worried. She didn't know that the cliff, the tongue, is 2 days walk away from town.
What about his cabin? Has he got any supplies in his hut we could use?
You ask him?
No, I'll just look around.
There is precious little there apart from a couple of tins of boiling over beans. He's a very poor man. There's a couple of traps, but a few furs, bits of bone. But he lives a very frugal existence, as do many people in this part of the world, especially on the
right.
penniless side.
I'll take his traps and some of his beans. I'm just going to start eating them as I walk beside him.
Ian, what's our understanding of the climate here? Like, Natasha really only has what's on her back. Like, is she going to make it through an overnight on the...
Well, bear in mind that overnight the sun is still
right.
in the sky, right? It's
and it's summertime, so it's not.
It's not. Will be bracing at nighttime, but it won't be freezing. You're not. These are not Arctic temperatures.
Okay. So Natasha isn't as concerned. She's surprised that it's that far, but otherwise,
okay.
Sounds good.
And so it's not really icebound, at least along the coast where it's slightly warmer and there's a breeze. But the boggy ground does make sucking noises at your boots as you take the coastal path. All around you, you can see these muscular mountains, their charcoal flanks still painted with last winter's snow. And then above you, as I said, the sun pirouettes across the heavens, producing 24 hours of perpetual daylight, which is perfect for the walruses that lounge around on the shore, occasionally vigorously humping each other.
Are we moving to the east or the west out of Hjaltmakar?
You are moving directly along the coast to the west. There is a fjord that leads out. It's a very simple path, and as Bjarni says to you, even a fool could find the troll's tongue. Just stay close to the sea, and we can't go wrong. That said, keep your eye out for the bears.
Always.
Now, what have you brought with you? We got to be defending ourselves.
We have precious little.
I think we're a little short on supplies right now, you guys. And I don't know about you, but I'm a little short on cash.
You child of a long-dead sow! The incompetency!
So, should we go back to the sick house and demand some expenses up front?
You at least have a fire.
Yes, I'll pat the gun.
And can you use it, wolf boy?
I'll point it right at him. And nod.
I'll be taking that as a yes.
And I'll nod.
Well met, fella. Perhaps there's some spunk about you that I might be getting used to. Fight in the war, did you?
I won't say anything, and then I'll nod yes.
Be interesting to see what happens when you come up against a bear. See whether you hold your nerve. See, here is a rugged country, eh? Beautiful in its bleakness. One of the things I always thought as if the old gods, they went to live somewhere, they went to live here. This is where they went, but it was the first time I came out here. That's when it happened. Very first light ice bear come cruising by. Big one, real bruiser. Sometimes that ice bear looks right at you. Right into your eyes, and the thing about an ice bear, he's got fiendish eyes. Hungry eyes, wolf boy. Hungry eyes. And that's when it happened. He came right down, right on top of me. Snapped right through the tent. You wouldn't have believed it, and by Thor, he had my whole head in his jaws. He ripped me through the side of the tent like a champagne cork. Boom! Like a cork he was, and then he started running and he had me by the head. I was getting dragged along. The breath, you would not believe the stench, although perhaps you would. I could feel the bones cracking in my neck and skull. That's what you got to look forward to. Missy, how's about you? You ever seen anything quite so terrifying?
Looking at Natasha.
Yes, I have seen the ice bear. They are fearsome, but not so fearsome as when the entire sky opens up and your family and your life and your entire world melts around. Those slathering jaws, that is a toothy maw far beyond any pitiful ice bear.
We'll see, Missy. We'll see.
And then actually he looks up above you, past your shoulder, says,
talking of the sword fall, look up in the sky.
And you can see above your heads, in the bright sunlight, a luminous red cross shimmering and rippling across the sky, mesmerizing you.
What is that? Mike asks. Does Natasha know what that is? What is it?
Gunnar will probably have a fair guess.
We're talking about the Firefox along the edge of the skies, or were we talking about the Lord Fall?
You mentioned it before that it was the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis.
Right.
Blazing away in the daylight sky above you, and Bjarni says,
now look, watch. You might call me superstitious, but the biggest mistake you can make with the lights is to wave or sing or whistle. Hey, Skraeling, you know about these things. Tell them you're here and the spirits of the lights come and slice off your head. Clap your hands, though. Clap your hands and you'll be safe. The only reason to whistle is to encourage them to come closer, to give them messages to take to the dead. Clap your hands, you fools! No,
hands.
Then
I've
don't.
never heard such a thing, Bjarni.
I'll start clapping my hands.
Never in my
I'll be
life
clapping my hands for
have
sure.
I heard such a
Clap
thing.
like you land. Your very lives depend upon it. The heavens open up, Missy. The heavens open up daily.
Gunnar stands there defiantly watching and seeing who claps, and eventually pulls off 3 or 4 claps, but he doesn't feel quite right about it.
Natasha's a bit superstitious, so she's going to clap just to hedge her bets a bit. But this is a tradition she knows absolutely nothing about, so she's just playing along. It doesn't mean it in her heart.
Yeah, look a little bit shy, look a bit circumspect. Old Bjarni's happy to take you under his wing.
He gives his nose a hearty pick and flobs some phlegm into the tundra, and then reluctantly follows you.
I'm going to give him a good push. Tell him to keep walking.
Now, Skraeling, tell me what you know about the ice. You know how to deter one when it comes near your camp.
You tell me. You seem like the expert.
I say we just feed it. This guy.
Well, it's often the case that you only need to be... You don't need to be the fastest runner of all time. You just need to be the one who's the least slow of your group, eh?
That's right.
This young missy, she don't look like she's up for sprinting much, if you catch my drift.
I think she might beat you head-to-head in a race there, old man.
Well, the lungs, they haven't been working, I admit. Anyways.
I'll shoot you in the leg to make you the slowest. Then I'll just shrug.
What a pleasant fellow you are.
Gunnar, does your character have any interest in this guy just being a more experienced trapper? Like, is there anything that he can tell you about what might be going on around here, about the Firefox maybe even, or?
Possibly. He's sure done an awful lot of talking, and I'm not feeling super trustworthy towards him at the moment, so I'm going to keep him moving for the time being, but he definitely might have some information.
So you are kind of ambling along, like I said, trudging along the boggy tundra. There's almost bracken-like vegetation sprung up along the shoreline. And as you're walking, you can ask him any questions that you like. You know, you're progressing first half an hour, then an hour outside of town. And he does say, well, I'm feeling really quite exhausted, perhaps. That dwerg, perhaps he knew what he was talking about after all. And you notice that when he's coughing, the phlegm has blood in it.
Are you even going to make it to the cliff? You meatbag?
Let's just take a rest for a little while. So sorry to be spoiling your nice walk out, you sack of shit.
I don't think there's time for a rest.
No rest.
No rest? Fine, I'll persevere. But I warned you, it was a mistake to bring beans out onto the tundra. The bear will smell those beans and rip you a new one, laddie.
I'd like to dump the rest of the beans on top of his head.
Well, if there's one way to go, it's covered in tomato sauce.
You do notice as you come round the kind of the crest of one hill, again you can see the whales cresting on the distance in the fjord, and here on to your left you start to hear a loud chugging sound like a kind of generator or a pump. And as you come round the corner, you can see an open mine shaft cut into the side of the hill, and there's all kinds of scaffolding, and outside is a huge water pump, and the water pump is obviously draining water from the mine shaft that goes into the hill beyond. And as you come past, that chugging sound, that suddenly grinds to a halt with a kind of awful mechanical wail that no machine should make.
Huh.
Natasha's on.
Is there anyone standing around running?
She looks around. Do we see anyone?
Nope, no one. There's no one. It's just a mine shaft, and cut into the side of the hill. Bjarni offers his opinion, whether you want it or not, and he says,
"Mine is going to be down in the shaft. Dwerg, the lot of them. Worm food they started off as. Worm food they'll always be. Leave them to rot in the bowels where they belong.
Also, if we don't, it's still with this pump down, these guys in the mine shaft are all toasted.
Well, toasted or drowned makes no difference to me. Perhaps Dverg can fucking float.
Well, they're made of that ironwood, right? So, presumably, I don't know.
Come on, 1 minute you want to be hurrying, the next you want to be dilly-dallying over Dverg. I think
all
not.
Right.
Come on,
Pipe
I've got an
down
appointment
for a minute
with
here,
destiny.
old timer.
Looks like you're lucky and you can have your rest.
Gunner's gonna wander over and investigate this pump for a minute.
Where are you going? We have to get him to the Troll's Tongue and back.
You watch him for a second.
Oh, I'll watch him. That fucking rifle pointed at him.
So I want to walk over and take a good look at this thing. See if there's anything obviously damaged. I don't have a ton of machinery experience, but I'm fairly handy. Can I make like a wits roll to see if I can figure out what's wrong with this thing?
You may.
I rolled a 12 plus 1, so 13.
Okay, so you're not handy enough to know how to fix it, but you do get the simple premise that obviously the glacier above the mine is melting, and so the pump is there to extract water, and if the pump is stopped, which it has, then at some point the mine will fill up with water, the mine shaft will fill up, and whoever's in there will be in trouble. So again, it's beyond your skills to repair. You don't have a toolkit or anything, but that's not to say that couldn't raise the hue and cry.
Yeah, one of those divergers might be able to fix it.
And there's none of them around that we see. They're all down in the mine. Presumably.
All good dwarves should be.
Yeah.
I've got good night vision. I can go check out the mine shaft.
Let's go investigate.
You know how to use a rifle?
Yeah.
If I were you, I would shoot this man if he even so much as stood up. And I'll hand you the rifle and look over at Bean Boy over there.
And you're going to go in there by yourself?
I will go with him.
I'll take a peek-see. You can see in the dark?
No, but I would have words with you.
I don't want words. Turn and just start walking to the mine shaft.
Halfway to the mine shaft, Natasha steps in front of you and looks up at you. She's petite, 5'1", so she has to look way, way up at you. And she says, Wolfman, you should
Hairy meat
treat
sack.
this man. What?
Hairy meat sack.
You
He's taking
want
it.
that
He's taking
name?
it upon himself. Yeah, he's taking it as a badge of honor from
Yeah,
Baltoki.
I feel it's what the locals call people. You're meat sack. I'm hairy meat sack. You're small
It
meat
was-
sack. Meat pouch.
meant as an insult. I only suggest this man is on his way to his last moment.
Good.
I know he has been incredibly insulting to you, but it is disrespectful to treat him in this manner. I'm certain that you can ignore his more noxious comments. Let's just get this done.
I will squat down so I'm eye level. Disrespectfully, like I'm talking to a toddler, like I do my 8-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Respect? This man gets no respect. I think we should kill him now and save the walk.
That would attract the bears.
She turns away from you and looks back towards the mine entrance.
I'll start walking towards the mine entrance.
Okay, I'll follow.
Maybe we should keep the party together. And I drag Bjarnard up off his butt onto his feet and push him.
What makes you
The
think
attitude.
I want to go down there? I don't
Got
like it
nothing to
as
do
it
with
is
want.
up here. I don't like the incessant cold, I don't like the biting wind, and I certainly don't like the moaning of Dverg.
Well, there's less wind down there at least. And I push him forward.
It's adorable. He thinks we care what he thinks.
He cracks a loud fart and says, "That'll be the beans."
Hey, Bjarnard, we don't have to go in the mine if you can fix the pump. Do you know how to do that?
Do I look like I went to the University of Miklagard? No, I went to the School of Hard Knocks.
All right, into the mine it is.
So the mine is cooler and dark. Night vision is, the kind of same kind of vision as animals have. So your eyes are lit up. Everyone can see that your eyes glow in the dark because of the strange lenses that you have. The Dverg themselves all see in infrared, and they are all beavering away. Some of them with jackhammers, some of them putting rocks into carts. There appears to be 7 of them, and they are all very busily engaged and don't hear you approach or see you approach at all.
Is it pitch black in there?
It is.
Okay, Natasha's going to stay at the entrance of the cave. Pitch black.
Yeah, your eyes are kind of adjusting a little bit so you can make out the shapes of people. You can make out movement. You can certainly hear their activity, but you can't make out any distinguishing features.
Hot Wheels. I'll just start yelling Hot Wheels to them. Hot Wheels.
Hey, look, Sale. Who is it?
Your
Willkommen, what is this?
pump is ill.
We've come to warn you.
You've come to warn us? What have you come to warn us of?
We were walking by and the pump malfunctioned.
The pump has
broke down.
malfunctioned?
That's right. We were worried you
Oh,
drowned, so we came to tell you.
calamity. Oh, we must thank you, honorable sir. Honorable sirs, and
they look at you strangely.
Hairy meat sack.
heavy meat sack. Pleased to make your acquaintance. We thank you for the warning. We must get the pump working immediately, or we will be, as you say, worm food. Drown the maggots. We would not want that.
That's what he said, and I point at Bjarnard.
But Bjarnard is not happy with this turn of events, and he just hawks a big bloody Huey onto the ground in contempt. The Dverg introduces himself and says, "My name is Vetkret, this is Rockpulse, and here are my colleagues, miners. When we are returning to the town, we will sing your praises. We thank you so much. You have saved unto our lives."
You're most welcome. We are walking to the tongue, and we're a little concerned about bears. Our supplies are low. Do you have any flares, tripwires, any other kind of bear deterrents?
No, the bears, they think that we are too crunchy, although sometimes they build their dens inside the mine, and we must move them along. But they do not like the Dverg noise. The acoustics give them the, the willies. And so they steer clear.
Okay.
Shall we move on? I'll look to Gunner.
For your act of caring and compassion and concern, you can all gain 1 point of honor.
I was wondering. Okay.
So
I love this mechanic.
By having shame, does that mean I lose a point of shame? Or do I gain it?
Sliding scale. Yeah, sliding scale. So
okay. All right, if it's time to move on, I'm going to give Bjornardson a massive push in the chest and tell him to start walking.
Off we go again then, you morons.
If I pushed him...
Sucking at the teats of this bitch dog mother.
I would like to push him very hard.
He stumbles, and you feel that he's underneath that kind of big, bulky jacket that he wears, you can actually feel that he's kind of quite frail, and he goes down on one knee and begins to cough and retch.
Pull him up by his hair and tell him to start walking. Turn him around and push him forward.
Natasha will try and help him up at the same time as Bogle's trying to help him up, although she's being a bit more gentle.
I'm helping.
She doesn't say anything to you.
I'll just shrug.
Gunnar can't really see anything, so he's just carefully following along with these weird noises.
I think we're out of the mines now.
You can continue along the path following the rack line of the beach, in order to get closer towards the troll tongue. Everyone, give me an awareness check.
Oh, that's actually not bad.
All right,
13.
That's a 10 for me.
Natasha got a 16.
Very good. Then, luckily for you, there is no surprise, but there also is no warning. There's none of the jaw chomping, the growling, the raising up of hind legs, the bluff charging. There is just suddenly a huge silhouette that blocks out the daytime sun. Somehow, this huge Isbjorn must have tracked you, picking up your scent. You notice that it is clearly, this is what the awareness check was for as well, it has clearly followed you from the direction of town. That is, its path must have come from that direction. Can you give me...
beans?
Can you give me a wits challenge roll as well? A wits challenge roll.
Oh, yes. Not my strong suit.
Well, that's an 18 for me.
Oh, damn. Good roll.
Oh, I rolled poorly. Only a 6.
Ooh, 14.
So, Gunnar and Bogle, you both notice something that Natasha doesn't. You notice that this bear has a harness.
Oh.
Which suggests that someone owns this bear. But it's far too late to ponder that anymore as it begins to roar and raise its huge paws. Please now also give me a will challenge roll.
Holy. All right.
Oh, and here's where everything goes downhill for Bogle.
Come on.
3.
That's a 17.
6.
Gunnar, the bare-hearted, stands proud and tall, confronting the bear that he is so familiar with from all of his years on the ice. Bogle, true to the prediction that Bjarni made, you tuck your tail between your legs, begin to whimper and quiver. You now have the frightened trait. Any attacks, challenge rolls you make, you must do so with 3 woes. The same for Natasha, who stumbles backwards. And Natasha, you are hit by the blinding realization that you have seen this bear before.
Oh. Not a she-bear, is it?
It's very definitely a female bear. Who would like to take a fast turn?
How far away is the bear? Describe the...
The bear has reared up off out of almost nowhere, coming up off a bluff, and roared straight into melee range.
Oh, fuck.
As I said, it's probably been tailing you. Gunnar looks like he's doing that... Sorry, don't worry.
You just vanished.
Visual joke for our audio listeners?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm on top of my actions. Is there anywhere for me to hide? Or are we just on a field of...
You know that poem, Ozymandias, that talks about the lone and level sands?
Mm-hmm.
This is like the lone and level tundra.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right.
So you can get down low into some boggy, marshy tundra. Not sure that will help, but it might cushion the blow when you're ripped limb from limb.
I'm gonna shoot the bear.
Okay, so you're taking a fast turn.
Yeah, fast turn shooting.
Natasha's going to take a fast turn to move away from the bear.
Gunner's going to take a fast turn and pull his bow out and knock an arrow.
And fire it or not fire it?
I will fire it.
Okay, well, let's start with Bogle. I want to see just how those trembling paws clutch the hunting rifle as he tries to jam a bullet into the chamber and release it at the monstrosity looming above him.
Oh no, this is bad. My D20 is already bad. With all my... all the three of those were a 2. So I got a 5 on the dice, -2 for 3, +2 for 5.
Was that a slight?
Hang on. So what did you roll? Sorry, what's the roll?
I rolled my total is 5. I got a 5 on the D20, -2 for the whoa. I rolled 2, 2, 2 on all 3 of them.
Okay, so it's a 3 altogether.
And then a +2 for sleight.
I get you. Thank you for explaining.
+2 sleight?
Oh yeah, buddy.
He is nimble.
Wow.
He's like Billy the Kid. Quick on the draw.
Natasha's shocked to see.
I'm
you
extremely
move that
fast. Yeah.
She's never seen one of you before.
However, trembling as the rifle is in your hands, when you loose your shot, it goes far wide, and you don't even see it as it arcs off into the blue sky.
This motherfucker Bjarnard better keep his mouth shut, or it's him I'm attacking next.
Yeah, Bjarnard's not keeping his mouth shut as you shoot incredibly wild and spin back with the recoil of the rifle. He calls out, "Dunga, half-fire idiot, Wrestlinger!"
It was a warning shot.
Warning who, ya buffoon? Warning me?
Warning you.
Not to go to my death with you. Okay, Gunnar, you gonna twang your bow? You're going to shoot a sacred bear, just to be clear.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to check that after I said I was going to shoot. So I pull my bow out and I knock an arrow, and then I think for a second. And
Fenrir is now barking like a dog possessed and is scampering around backwards and forwards, tugging at your kind of the hem of your cloak.
Okay. And what do I know from my history about the ownership of bears? That's something that Curtis didn't consider before I came into this. So do people take these bears as pets? Is that sort of bear slavery and something that I'm definitely against?
Very rich people are sold bears by unscrupulous other people. And then they own these bears. It's just to him, this potential owner, this is just like your dog is to you.
Okay, so I have knocked an arrow and drawn my bow, and I'm actually going to try and back off. I double clutch, I'm ready to shoot, and I don't seem to be able to actually fire an arrow at this bear initially, and I try to back off with my dog for safety.
Okay, you stumble backwards and follow the well-worn path of Natasha, who has already fled.
Cowards!
Back down the path. Bjarnard doubles over, racking with coughs. He's shouted so much at you, he can barely breathe.
My plan is working.
Unfortunately, that leaves him right in the path of the bear.
And he's covered in beans.
He is covered in beans.
Excellent.
And what happens next happens in a blur. as all of you just suddenly see the bear sweep down with both of its paws. It has opened its mouth to bite him. He's tried to jam his knife towards its throat, but all of it's done is savaged all the way up his arm and ripped his arm from his shoulder blade. Nice. Blood spewing everywhere. His spine cracks in the bear's maw, and such as was left of his cancer-ridden lungs collapse as its teeth puncture his torso. The bear flings him to one side like a puppet, and then turns its malevolent dead eyes straight at you, Bogle.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was happening. Everybody else ran, and I tried to shoot it. We're back at the top of the round, right?
Top of the round, if you want to do a fast round.
Oh, boy.
Do we do slow turns now, or?
No, you get to choose one or the other.
You get to choose one or the other. You all chose fast turns, so you've got to go first. The bear goes after you. There are no slow turns. Bjarni might have taken a slow turn, but there's not much of him left.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, I think I'm going to use the fast turn and move away.
Are you going to try and do a retreat?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's going to give you you're going to get a free attack.
Yeah, no, I'm going to retreat.
Retreat means you can move half your speed to back away, and as you do, you're backing away past the almost dismembered body of Bjarnason, and he looks up at you with the light fading from his eyes and says, "You whimpering, snot-nosed, cretinous coward! You're everything I despise! You couldn't even kill me properly!"
Don't worry, I'll tie
the
balloon to you.
The bear is on the verge of savaging you when suddenly you hear a voice cry from the mid-distance. 5 Thor's roaring thunder! Snow White! Leave those men alone this instant! Back away, you brutes!
Oh, thank God.
And just in the nick of time, you see 3 men on Skridvergs, which is this universe's version of Skidoos, zoom up, their engines vibrating. Amazing. The Skridverg back the Snow White, the Isbjorn, backed down with her fetid breath and jaws inches away from ripping your face off.
Wow.
And she cowers and settles into kind of submissive pose. And to find out who our new guest is on the scene, we will have to wait until next time.
Oh,
it's too bad that I didn't get to actually kill that guy myself. But that's all right.
Kinda did.
Yeah, you put the beans on him. You did.
It was the kiss. It was the kiss of the fatal beans. Yeah. Don't call the episode.
I was about to say, title the episode, Kiss of the Fatal Beans.
That will confuse everybody.
Thank you for listening to another episode from Actual Play Entertainment. Please rate us, review us, and subscribe. If you liked what you just heard, give us 5 stars and tell your friends. If you didn't like it, then tell your enemies. You'll show them. And for more information and content, visit actualplayentertainment.com.